There are moments in life when everything looks perfect on the surface. The smiles are bright, the laughter feels real, and the world assumes nothing could ever go wrong. But sometimes behind the camera, behind the morning greetings and polished routines, there's a story unfolding that changes everything. Today, we're talking about Kelly and Mark, a couple America feels like it knows. A couple who built their lives in front of us for decades, and the quiet, heartbreaking shift that forever altered how they see love, family, and time itself. And here's the thing, this isn't just their story. By the end of this video, you may find yourself looking at your own life a little differently too. So stay with me because what happened next is something no one saw coming. For years, Kelly and Mark represented something rare, a marriage that survived fame. In an industry where relationships often fade faster than headlines, they endured. They laughed together. They raised children together. They built careers side by side. To millions of Americans watching from their living rooms every morning, they weren't just celebrities, they were comfort. Familiar faces in a changing world. But what many didn't realize was that the very thing that made them look so strong was also quietly testing them in ways few marriages ever experience. Fame doesn't pause real life. It magnifies it. And behind the smiles, schedules were relentless. Time became a currency they never seemed to have enough of. And that's when the first crack appeared. Not dramatic, not loud, just subtle, almost invisible. Until it wasn't. Because sometimes the biggest changes don't arrive with warning signs. They arrive disguised as just another busy day. And that day would become a turning point. There comes a moment in every long marriage when life asks a hard question. What really matters now? For Kelly and Mark, that question didn't come from a headline. It came from something deeply personal. Something that forced them to stop, breathe, and reevaluate everything. Suddenly, time didn't feel unlimited anymore. The future didn't feel guaranteed. And when that realization truly hits, it changes you. They weren't thinking about ratings, or red carpets, or applause. They were thinking about mornings they'd rushed through, conversations they'd postponed, moments they assumed they'd always have later. And that's when reality set in. Later isn't promised. That understanding, it shook them, and it reshaped the way they looked at love itself. But what happened next wasn't retreat. It wasn't fear. It was something far more powerful. Some couples drift apart when life gets hard. Kelly and Mark leaned in. They began doing something radical in a world that rewards busyness. They slowed down. They listened more. They spoke differently. They started choosing presence over perfection. And here's what's remarkable. They didn't do it because cameras were watching. They did it because they realized something vital. Love isn't proven in the highlight reels. It's proven in the quiet recalibrations no one applauds. This wasn't a dramatic reinvention. It was a quiet recommitment to each other, to their family, to the moments that don't trend but truly matter. And yet, the hardest part was still ahead. Because just when they thought they understood the lesson, life delivered one more reminder they could never ignore. As children grow and lives evolve, parents face a strange mix of pride and grief. Kelly and Mark felt it deeply. The house didn't sound the same anymore. The rhythms changed. The roles shifted. And for the first time, they weren't just partners raising a family, they were a couple standing at the edge of a new chapter. That transition is beautiful, but it's also painful. It forces reflection. Who are we now? Who are we without the constant noise, the constant responsibility. For many couples, this is where distance creeps in. For Kelly and Mark, it became a moment of truth. Would they grow separately or grow together again? And this is where their story becomes more than celebrity news. This is where it becomes a mirror. Instead of clinging to the past, they chose to honor it and then move forward. They embraced change not as loss, but as invitation. An invitation to rediscover each other, to talk like they did when they were younger, to laugh without rushing to the next obligation. And here's the surprising part. The heartbreak didn't weaken them. It refined them. It reminded them that love isn't static. It evolves if you let it. And in that evolution, they found something deeper than what they had before. Not louder love, quieter love, the kind that feels steady, intentional, earned. And maybe that's the real update no headline can capture. That even after decades, even after loss, change, and uncertainty, it's still possible to choose each other again. So the question isn't just what changed Kelly and Mark forever. The question is, what moments in your life are quietly asking for your attention right now? Because sometimes the most heartbreaking updates become the most meaningful turning points of all.